And we're going to go over that in a minute, all right?
My experience with the ocean was quite limited as I didn't go too many times, but I did go to the seaside a couple of times, trips with school, trips with church. The beach and the ocean was always something you did as an excursion. It was always a holiday, something that was rare and different. It wasn't every day.
I wish I had learnt to surf before I had moved to Florida to play basketball and study at university. Reason being is I felt I would have had a better experience at the beach, and I would have been included in more activities. At times I was left out because I didn't know how to surf. I couldn't go to the beach, or I couldn't go to events because they couldn't just stop their day before me. So if I knew how to surf, it would have been a lot easier for me.
So the first thing when I thought about surfing is what am I going to do with my hair? Because I didn't want to wear a cap, and obviously I didn't want to lose my wig. So I was like, I'm going to have to get braids or just keep my hair out. So it's trying to figure out what I was going to do with my hair. I guess sometimes it can be quite limiting because you want to protect your hair, and then the only option for that is to wear a cap, but you might not want to do that. You see other races being able to have their hair out and have that beach waves and stuff, and I know my afro hair is not like that, of course, that makes sense. So in that way, it is kind of limiting, I guess, for black women to be able to say, I want to surf, because you automatically think about your hair, and your hair is an extension of you and your beauty. Some people might not feel that way, but I think it is very important within the black community for our hair to be a representation of us. So if you're not able to do that, you might feel uncomfortable.
Growing up in Ghana, I've always had experience with the water. So when I was younger, we used to go to the beach quite a lot. We used to just explore the water there. And then when I got a bit older and I was able to travel on my own, I started going on holiday and exploring more the beach. These experiences build your character, they build who you are, and they make who you are. I didn't know there was different techniques when it came to surfing until I was there to experience it. And for me, I've just thought, you just go where the waves are and then you just stand up. But there's actually just different levels, different techniques, like lying down, sitting up, using your hands to paddle. There's just so many things that you can do.
Hey guys! Hey! This is Kirsty. She's going to be your surf instructor for this week.
Hi, Kirsty. How's it going?
It's going well, thank you.
Good.
Excited.
It's so exciting.
You're going to be in great hands. Kirsty's super experienced and has been teaching people to surf. She's taught us all the sports for years, so you're in amazing hands.
Yeah,
Amazing.
we're going to have some fun. Surfing is not a sport that's necessarily accessible to everybody. You have to live in a specific place, you have to be informed about it, and you have to have access to the right equipment and guidance. So only very specific groups of people are exposed to that. I think young people seeing this kind of documentary would be really inspired to then put themselves in that situation.
I think that surfing has really traditionally been a white male sport. If you look at surfing 20, 30 years ago, it was mostly just men. Girls weren't even really allowed to compete before the 80s. And I just think that it's come so far from that, and now it's so inclusive. And surfing doesn't have to be about fitting in a box. There's adaptive surfing championships now. There's different ways of surfing. You don't have to stand up to be a surfer. You can stay on your knees. You can do it in different ways. And I think that surfing it just includes so many people, and it should be about including all these people, and it should be about what it is to you, because there's a saying that the best surfer in the water is the surfer that's having the most fun. It's about having fun.
It's been so lovely having a community to be on this journey with. Just because, community is everything. So there's so much privilege in being able to walk into a new experience with a community. And you see, I could have learned how to surf at any point in my life, at any place in the world. I 100% could have learned in a warmer ocean. But I wouldn't change this experience because it was special being able to experience it in the way that we experienced it as a group of Black women who were firsts, doing a thing for the first time, and also unapologetic about it, like being unapologetic about it. You know, every single person that we met, we told them what the documentary was about, that it's about Black women learning how to surf for the first time. We didn't hide that. And yeah, we shouldn't hide that. Noise needs to be brought to the fact that there are not enough Black and minority ethnic surfers in the world.
So Yvette came to meet us before our first surfing session. She gave us a lot of courage, and she actually taught us how she was introduced to surfing and the reason why she decided to create her own surfing program called Wave Wahinis. She basically created it because her daughter didn't have anywhere to surf. I felt like she really cared about us and she wanted us to succeed.
It's really come full circle, but it's also been like really a learning curve. So I've been dropped into this sport that I've always associated with, like, I guess just Point Break, kind of, it's just loads of white people, that's it. And so I had no idea about like the nuances and the culture and all the politics that are in surfing. So it's been like a really big learning curve. But what I have found is being sat in rooms with lots of people discussing performance pathways or discussing the future of surfing or the state of surfing in the UK. I've always been the only woman of colour in those rooms. Wow. And I did notice that, and I was like, why is there like literally nobody else around here that looks like me? And obviously I live in Devon, so you know the demographic is very different. But you know, of that demographic, we already have above average, you know, girls and women of colour who surf with us. And you know, I think that's not a coincidence that it's because the club is founded by a woman of mixed heritage, so they can kind of see actually this is a space for my daughters to go and be accepted and not be sort of, you know, vilified or feel out of place.
I think that as Black women, there are so many places in life, so many experiences which are not comfortable for us, and we have to almost fit into certain areas or certain spaces, and we're accustomed to discomfort. We were able to relate to each other and be completely normal around each other. There were no questions about, we weren't asking each other if we could touch each other's hair. We weren't saying, oh my God, your hair's so cool. Like, we were normal. And that is an experience I think that Black women don't always get to have. We go into spaces and we're often different because we are often in the minority. Whereas when you are one of many and everyone around you, you can relate to, it takes away that experience of being other. So instead of being other, we were one. We were just normal. It was good. It was great.
Something that Yvette said was, it's not about like surfing, like being able to stand up and like be a pro per se. It's about having fun as a group, as a community, and seeing that everyone's having fun, right? So I feel like I kind of switched it into, okay, I need to perform, and it being performance led to actually I'm doing this in a community with other Black women and everyone's having fun. And just like it being chill, like it doesn't have to be about performing my best.
It was so good to meet the girls today. They look so excited, so ready to give it a try, and yeah, they absolutely look like they're completely game for trying something totally new. A little bit nervous, which I totally get. I remember that feeling, and I just think it's so vital, you know, that they're doing this and showing a whole new story, a new narrative that needs to be shown. It's so important for other communities and for women and girls of colour to see someone that reflects them in the surfing lineup, someone that reflects them being a beginner and trying something new that they may not have necessarily thought was for them. It's such a needed bit of storytelling in the community and in the surfing space in the UK. So I cannot wait to see how they get on surfing, and I can't wait to hear their stories.
The feeling of catching a wave is amazing. You feel the strength of the ocean. It's crazy as well because it's like if you angle your body and your board in the right way, then like you can feel when you're going to catch a wave and when you're not going to catch a wave, for example, and you're literally carried by the ocean. and you don't have to do anything but get into the right position. It's amazing. It's great.
I actually never knew that surfing was an Olympic sport as of 2020. I think when I look at surfing, I just see it as like something you see on TV, like, yo, dude, like I never thought it was an Olympic sport. Even meeting Sianda, who's on his way to becoming the first pro surfer for Great Britain, that's black, is amazing to me, because for me, it's like a part of history in the making. So that him coming there and like giving us tips and stuff has made me feel like really proud to be a part of this moment and to be part of something that's so big.
How's the surf?
It was nice.
So good, yeah.
The water's actually the most amazing thing ever. It's not cold. I thought it was going to be freezing, but it's actually really warm. I was expecting the water to be cold, and it wasn't cold, but I think it's because of our swimsuit, our wetsuit. Those things are built with like steel or something, because that water was not getting into my system. And I was like, oh. And then when the water finally did touch you, it was like your body was already warm.
What's awesome to see is there seems to be a global movement of sort of a setting aside of the old narrative of what it was to be a surfer. And actually there are people all over the world surfing, and there are so many different narratives. And so it's really exciting to see those narratives coming forward. And who is a surfer? Well, you guys are surfers, we're surfers. There's so many different types of surfer, and that just needs to be reflected. And that type of representation will change things, as well as access. So, having access for entry-level surfing is critical as well.
The common notion is that black people don't know how to swim. And I think even like within my friends, I think I'm probably the only one that can swim. So I think it's like, if you can't swim, it's fearful for you to get in the water. I think swimming pools and stuff are fine, but the sea, I guess, is so open and so big, and it can be very daunting. That you wouldn't even think of going surfing. And I think sometimes the relationship that we have with water, because of our hair and what we're going to do with our hair and stuff like that, it can put people off. But I think the more people actually try and do it, the more it might become common. And I think because we live in London, like, where do you go to surf? Do you get what I mean? You can't go to the River Thames, or even if you could, would you go? Like, the water is not like, do you get what I mean? So I feel like it's about accessibility. If it becomes accessible and a thing that people can do that's affordable, then yeah, I can see it like becoming a thing.
I definitely do believe that surfing in our culture, like the BAME community, especially like the black culture, could definitely grow. I believe black women do enjoy going to the beach, and it doesn't have to always be about just, sunbathing. And if we could learn how to surf at different levels, it doesn't have to be getting onto your board. It could be body surfing, or just being in the water with your board, sitting on your board, like learning the correct techniques in that way. People could enjoy it and gain a different experience at the beach. I definitely do believe that's something we can do and introduce to our culture.
So we've been surfing with the girls for the last 2 days. Yesterday, none of them had ever been in the water with a surfboard before, so completely new to the sport. And in the space of 3 hours, we saw amazing progression already, some of them even standing up. And then today the waves were a little bit bigger, so we had the chance to go in again for another few hours and do some more progression. And by the end of it, pretty much everybody was almost standing up. A couple of them were even learning to turn, which for 2 days of surfing is seriously amazing progression. So yeah, they did really, really well.
I feel really, really good. That was literally one of the best experiences I've had to date. The water was so nice. It was just,
Felt so free, so peaceful in the water. I was able to do the 3-step method and get onto my board for like 1.5 seconds. I'm trying to aim for 3, but yeah, I feel amazing.
I feel like for people who have never done this before and have actually just come here and been taught, the instructors have been amazing. We've grown so much, and you get to see that in the 3 hours that you're kind of surfing. Like I felt like we progressed really quickly, but yeah, it was really fun.
There were a lot of emotions before this moment, but finally getting into the water and just experiencing it, it was so different to what I expected, so mind-blowing, and it was just unmatched.
I can't believe I haven't done this before. I'm actually shocked.
my primary goal going into the experience was to stand up in the water and be able to like surf to the non-shallow part. And I achieved that my first go. I'm sorry, but like I was the only one that did it first, Miriam. Yes, I achieved it and more. Like I kept going and going and going. And it was just so fun. Like surfing was just literally one of the best experiences ever. I would love to do it again. I just feel like we didn't have enough days to keep going. But no, I achieved everything. I did that. Yep.
Learning how to surf has definitely brought about like a new opportunity I can use when I go to the beach. So I definitely will invest in a good surfboard when I go to the beach, and I also invite my friends and show them like how to surf, and we can share new memories and create new opportunities for other people.
My relationship with the ocean has changed and developed in the sense that I just see it as more of an accessible place to me. I was quite scared actually, and there was one point where I was quite overwhelmed with anxiety upon seeing the ocean and the thought of going into it. But after having the experience of being in the ocean, I think I overcame a big fear from within myself when I did that. And how I see the ocean now is a lot more inviting than it was before for me.
Surfing has helped me connect with the environment and nature, because I think I look at the sea differently. I think when you see the sea, it's like very overpowering and overwhelming. But I guess having that experience and connecting with the water in that sense has made me feel like, anyway, that I guess water is a part of you in a sense. And you can have fun in it, and it doesn't have to be this scary thing as long as you're careful. And I guess this is a great moment that I can always refer back to and think of as something that connects me with the environment.